There comes a time in every man's life when he must face himself with brutal honesty. You were not placed here to drift like a leaf in the wind. You were placed here to dominate, to rise, to become the man God meant you to be. Your first duty is to define it with crystal clarity. Who is that man? What does he stand for? What battles is he meant to fight? What mountains must he climb? Without this vision burning in your mind, you are a ship without a rudder. And a rudderless ship is wrecked by every storm. The second step is faith. Unshakable, immovable, unbreakable faith. You must believe with every fiber of your being that the Creator has endowed you with the strength, the intellect, the fire to achieve your destiny. Doubt is a traitor that strangles greatness. There is no room for it. When the world mocks you, when even your own mind whispers fears, you will roar back with faith. The man God meant you to be does not kneel to fear. He kneels only before his Creator. Next comes the mastery of self. If you cannot command your thoughts, if you cannot master your impulses, you are nothing but a slave in a free world. Discipline your mind, discipline your habits, discipline your very breath if necessary. Every day you must choose to act in line with your highest calling, not with your fleeting feelings. Victory is not won once, it is won daily, hourly, moment by moment by moment. You must persist beyond the point where others fall away. Every obstacle is a test. Every delay is a question, how badly do you want it? The man who God destined to rise will never retreat. He will attack the mountain again and again until it crumbles under the hammer of his persistence. The weak will call him foolish. Let them. The destiny-driven man knows there is no other path to glory. Mastery of the mind is your fortress. You must plant only noble thoughts. Thoughts of fear, laziness, anger, rip them out like weeds. So only thoughts of power, of victory, of faith, of discipline. Your thoughts shape your destiny. Guard them like a soldier guards a king. A poisoned mind leads to a poisoned life, but a mind trained in strength and purity becomes unstoppable. None of this means anything without action. Relentless, fearless, decisive action. Dreams are ashes unless you put your hands to work. A true man does not wait for perfect conditions. He moves when the heart says move. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. Every day must be an assault toward the summit of your calling. No hesitation, no apology. Action builds the bridge between where you are and where you must go. Finally, burn with desire. Not a weak want, not a shallow hope. A raging, relentless, merciless fire in your chest that says, I will become what God designed me to be, or I will die trying. Only this level of desire is enough to tear through the forces that will resist you. If you burn bright enough, nothing on this earth can put out your flame. Every man destined for greatness begins with one step. He decides. He decides with unwavering clarity what he will become, what he will fight for, what he will build, and what he will leave behind. No man stumbles into greatness by accident. No man drifts into his divine destiny. The man who becomes what God meant him to be starts by seizing a clear, unbreakable purpose and binding it to his heart so tightly that no storm, no failure, no betrayal, no hardship can ever loosen its grip. The masses wander because they refuse to decide. The few rise because they decide and then make that decision the foundation of everything they do. Your future does not wait for you to feel ready. It bows only to the man who has declared his mission in words so strong, so fiery, so unstoppable, that they burn a trail through every doubt and every distraction in his way. The man who becomes what God intended knows he cannot afford to be vague. Vague dreams produce vague results. A cloudy mind is the tool of mediocrity. You must see your calling so clearly that you could describe it in one sentence. One sentence that stabs through confusion and slams into the world with undeniable force. If you cannot tell yourself exactly what you were made to do, then you will be tossed around by every distraction and every shallow opportunity. The man of purpose stands while others fall. He sees his mountaintop when others see only fog. He plants his feet where others float like driftwood. When he speaks of his future, he speaks as a man who has already seen it written in stone, because to him it is not a question of if, it is only a matter of when nothing great is, built by accident. No masterpiece, no nation, no movement, no legacy was ever created by men who waited for the pieces to fall into place. They bent reality to their vision because their vision was stronger than their environment. They did not ask permission. They did not seek the approval of the weak. They carried the torch of their purpose through the howling winds of resistance, and they held it high until others could see by its light. Your purpose is your torch. Carry it or crawl in the dark. The man of destiny chooses to carry it until his dying breath, because he knows a man without a burning purpose is already dead inside. The world will try to drown your purpose with noise. It will flood your mind with doubts, with distractions, with temptations to settle for comfort and mediocrity. The man called by God must recognize these traps instantly and crush them under his heel without mercy. Every time you allow yourself to drift, you spit in the face of the one who designed you for a mission. Every wasted day, every wasted thought, every wasted breath pulls you further from the man you were meant to be. You must be ruthless with yourself, ruthless with your habits, ruthless with your focus, ruthless with your time, because greatness does not answer to men who treat life like a game. Greatness bows only to men who treat every hour like a weapon forged for victory. Your purpose must be written into the deepest parts of your mind. It must be hammered into your bones. You must be able to recite it under pressure, in pain, in darkness, when no one is watching, when everyone is laughing, when everything seems against you. It must become your identity, not just your goal. A man may lose money, lose friends, lose strength, lose status. But if he never loses his purpose, he will rise again stronger than ever. The storms of life are not meant to break you. They are meant to test if you are truly married to your purpose or if you only flirted with it when it was easy. Understand this: the man who is clear on his purpose becomes a magnet. He draws resources, allies, opportunities, and even miracles into his path because life responds to the one who knows exactly what he wants and moves toward it with relentless conviction. A divided man receives nothing. A man who hesitates, who second-guesses, who waits for guarantees, who waters down his dream to fit the approval of cowards, that man will watch others take the prizes he was meant to claim. He will die with his song still trapped inside him. Do not be that man. The man of God-given destiny is dangerous to the forces of mediocrity. His clarity alone terrifies those who have wasted their lives. His fire exposes their coldness. His movement condemns their paralysis. His words shame their excuses. And so he must be ready to stand alone when necessary. He must be willing to move without applause, to march without cheers, to build without encouragement. His purpose is his companion. His purpose is his energy. His purpose is his sword. And his shield decide today who you will become. Carve it into your mind so deeply that nothing and no one can ever carve it out. Let it consume you. Let it drive you. Let it set you ablaze so brightly that even hell itself trembles at the sound of your footsteps. You were not made for a life of quiet regret. You were not made to apologize for your calling. You were made to rise. You were made to conquer. You were made to become exactly the man God dreamed into existence the moment he breathed life into your lungs. Decide a man without faith is already defeated before the battle even begins. He has surrendered in his mind long before the first shot is fired. But the man who possesses unshakable faith is a force no power on earth can stop. Faith is the invisible weapon clutched in the hands of the man who dares to believe when every outward sign tells him to quit. It is the fire behind his eyes when the world laughs at him. It is the steel in his spine when even the ground beneath his feet shakes. Faith is the inner roar that drowns out fear, that silences doubt, that smashes through impossibility with a holy violence. Faith is the signature of the man who knows that God himself has signed his approval across his life. This kind of faith is not delicate, it is not fragile. It does not ask for the permission of circumstances. It does not tremble before the mountains standing in the way. It laughs at obstacles because it knows they were placed there not to destroy the man, but to reveal the level of faith burning inside him. True faith does not fold in the storm, it grows sharper. True faith does not vanish under pressure, it multiplies. Every man called to greatness must settle it once and for all. that he will believe even when sight fails, that he will trust even when logic crumbles, that he will move even when every voice screams to turn back. Understand this: faith is not a feeling. It is a decision made with finality. It is a contract signed in blood between a man and his Creator. Feelings are weather, changing with the seasons. Faith is a mountain that outlives them all. The man who depends on emotion to fuel his mission will die in the desert. But the man who walks by faith will march through hell itself and come out singing songs of victory. He will move when he is tired. He will act when he is wounded. He will build when he is betrayed. Because faith is the oxygen of destiny, and the man of destiny refuses to suffocate. Faith must be trained like a muscle. It must be tested under the heaviest burdens life can throw. Every betrayal, every closed door, every heartbreaking defeat is not a curse, but a forge where your faith is hammered into something unbreakable. Weak men resent their tests. Strong men welcome them. Weak men run when life hits back. Strong men square their shoulders, grit their teeth, and say, "Is that all you've got?" Because they know the fire is making them untouchable. Every man who walks in unshakable faith carries scars on his soul, scars earned in battles others were too cowardly to fight. You must become a man who does not negotiate with fear. Fear will knock, it always does. Fear will whisper, scream, plead, threaten. Your answer must be the same every time. Stand firm, speak louder, move faster. Fear feeds on hesitation. Starve it with action. Fear multiplies in silence. Kill it with a battle cry. The man of unshakable faith does not wait to feel courageous. He acts in the face of trembling knees. He moves while his hands still shake. He knows that faith-filled action triggers a flood of power that cowardice can never touch. Your words must align with your faith. Speak life or remain silent. Speak victory or say nothing at all. Every word is a seed, and every seed produces after its kind. A man who speaks defeat breeds defeat. A man who speaks destiny breeds destiny. Watch your mouth like a sentry watches the gates of a city. Do not allow doubt to pass through your lips disguised as humor, sarcasm, or realism. The world calls caution wisdom, but the man of destiny knows that true wisdom often looks like madness to the fearful. Speak the future you were designed to create, not the present you were meant to conquer. There will be days when it looks like everything is falling apart. Good. Let it fall. The man of unshakable faith does not panic when the old world burns. He does not mourn when shallow foundations crack. He knows that for the new to rise, the old must die. He stands in the rubble with fire in his eyes and says, "My foundation was never in what I saw. My foundation was in the word that called me, and that word does not break, does not fail, does not retreat. Let everything that can be shaken, because the man of faith is anchored to the only thing that cannot be moved. The world will mock your faith. Expect it. Weak men always mock what they fear. Small men always criticize what exposes their own compromise. Their laughter is your confirmation. Their scorn is your proof that you have stepped into territory they were too afraid to touch. The man of unshakable faith does not look for approval from the faithless. He looks only to the one who called him, and he marches forward with a smile that infuriates the insecure and ignites the hearts of hidden warriors watching from the shadows. Faith is not optional for the man who would fulfill his divine calling. It is not a side issue. It is not a comfort reserved for easy times. It is the fuel, the sword, the shield, the anchor. Without it, you are a hollow shell. With it, you are a weapon forged by the hand of God himself. Burn this into your bones. No man ever fulfilled his purpose by being realistic, by being careful, by playing small. Purpose is fulfilled only by men who have the audacity to believe when believing makes no sense, who have the courage to speak light in the middle of darkness, who have the guts to move mountains because their God said it was possible, and that was enough. The man who masters self-discipline masters everything. Without it, talent rots. Dreams rot. Destiny rots. The strongest calling is crushed under the weight of an undisciplined life. Self-discipline is the edge that separates the lions from the sheep. It is the dividing line between men who wish and men who achieve. Discipline is doing what must be done, when it must be done, whether you feel like it or not. The man who bends his actions to his emotions will live a life of regret. But the man who commands his actions by his mission will live a life of power, of honor, of unstoppable force. Self-discipline is the daily war between your higher self and your lower self. Every morning when your feet hit the ground, the battle begins again. Comfort will whisper sweet lies in your ear. Laziness will offer you tempting chains disguised as pleasure. Fear will try to paralyze your movements under the weight of uncertainty. But the man who is becoming what God meant him to be has no patience for these lies. He answers comfort with action. He answers laziness with labor. He answers fear with fire. He does not ask for permission from his feelings. He issues commands, and he obeys them without negotiation. The man of discipline understands that small moments create great destinies. He knows that the habits formed in the dark when no one is watching will carve the character that will be revealed in the light when everyone is watching. Every choice is a chisel. Every action is a hammer stroke. Discipline is not a dramatic, once-in-a-lifetime act of greatness. It is the hourly decision to act in alignment with your purpose instead of surrendering to weakness. Greatness is not a feeling, it is a routine. Destiny is not discovered, it is built. Weak men wait for motivation. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait to be in the mood. And they die waiting. The disciplined man acts. He does not delay when he is tired. He does not slack when he is bored. He does not excuse himself when things get hard. He knows that every day he either strengthens his power or strengthens his chains. Every skipped task is another link added to the shackles of mediocrity. Every act of discipline is another step on the staircase to immortality. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is victory. Discipline is life, understand this. Self-discipline is a form of self-respect. A man who disciplines himself is declaring to the world and to himself, I am worth the sacrifice. He refuses to let his potential rot because of momentary feelings. He refuses to let the opinions of cowards dictate his pace. He refuses to lower his standards because the road is narrow and lonely. Discipline is not about punishing yourself. It is about preparing yourself. It is about sharpening yourself into the weapon you were born to be. It is about honoring the call of greatness that lives inside your bones. The disciplined man does not need external rewards to fuel his fire. His reward is mastery. His reward is the quiet, unstoppable confidence that comes from knowing he can trust himself. Trust is built through promises kept. Every time you tell yourself you will do something and you follow through, you are building a fortress of trust inside your mind. Every time you break that promise, you tear down that fortress brick by brick. The disciplined man builds. The undisciplined man destroys. Discipline teaches you that you are who you say you are, not who you hope you might become. There will be days when your body screams for rest, when your mind demands an easier road, when your emotions beg you to quit. Good. Those are the days when real warriors are forged. Those are the days that separate the boys from the men. Those are the days that sculpt legends. The disciplined man welcomes the hard days because he knows they are the sharpening stone of his soul. He understands that the comfort he denies himself today will become the crown he wears tomorrow. Suffering and discipline is never wasted. It is the currency that buys power. It is the price of the throne. The man who cannot discipline his appetite will be ruled by it. The man who cannot discipline his time will have it stolen by lesser men. The man who cannot discipline his words will destroy his own influence. The man who cannot discipline his thoughts will be tossed about like a leaf in the storm. But the man who disciplines all these areas, his hunger, his hours, his speech, his mind, becomes unbreakable. He becomes the type of man who can be trusted with great missions, great battles, great victories. He becomes the type of man God can use to shake the world. Decide now that you will not be ruled by the easy road. Decide now that you will not sell your destiny for cheap pleasures. Decide now that you will train yourself in the hidden hours, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering. Because when the day of testing comes, and it will come, only the disciplined man will stand. Only the disciplined man will rise. Only the disciplined man will be crowned. And when the dust settles, it will not be the talented, it will not be the lucky, it will not be the loud who remain, it will be the disciplined. The man who wins is not the man who never falls, it is the man who refuses to stay down. Persistence against resistance is the true mark of a warrior soul. Every dream worth building will be opposed. Every destiny worth claiming will be attacked. Every mission worth living for will be met with walls of fire and oceans of doubt. The man who fulfills his God-given call is not the one who had an easy road. It is the one who crushed every obstacle beneath his feet, who looked resistance in the eye and roared louder, who took every blow life threw at him and turned it into fuel. Resistance is the forge where true men are made. It is the fire that burns off weakness, burns off excuses, burns off illusions. The world belongs to those who outlast the storm, who outfight the opposition, who outbleed the cowards that turned back when the road grew steep. The man of destiny welcomes resistance because he knows it is proof he is moving in the right direction. He does not expect ease. He does not cry for shortcuts. He does not whimper when the journey gets bloody. He tightens his grip, hardens his will, sharpens his vision, and keeps going when everyone else bows to pressure. Understand this: resistance is not there to stop you, it is there to reveal you. It shows you what you are made of. It separates the pretenders from the real. When life punches you in the mouth, your response will tell the truth about you. The man who is playing at greatness crumbles. The man who is committed to greatness grins with bloody teeth and charges again. Persistence is the muscle that grows every time you refuse to quit. It is the armor that thickens every time you rise from a fall. It is the fire that rages hotter every time you refuse to be extinguished. Persistence is not an emotion. It is a decision made in advance. It is a vow carved into your bones that you will not stop until the mission is complete. The man of persistence acts when he is praised and when he is mocked. He moves forward when the crowds cheer and when the crowds abandon him. He swings the hammer when the reward is visible and when it seems a million miles away. His loyalty is to the call, not to the convenience. His faithfulness is to the vision, not to the visible outcome. The man who persists when all visible evidence tells him to quit is the man who calls down miracles. You must train yourself to expect opposition, expect setbacks, expect betrayals, expect delays, expect doors slammed in your face, expect to bleed, and expect to win anyway. The weak are surprised by resistance. They fall into self-pity. They ask, "Why me?" The strong are not surprised. They are fueled by it. They say, "This is the price. I will pay it 1,000 times and still rise." Resistance sharpens the worthy and exposes the impostors. It is the necessary enemy that polishes the sword until it gleams with divine fire. There is no shame in falling. There is shame only in staying down. Every man called to greatness will be knocked to his knees. What separates the crowned from the crushed is the decision to rise one more time than you fall. You must become a man who is impossible to discourage, impossible to intimidate, impossible to break. When you are exhausted, you move. When you are broken, you rebuild. When you are doubted, you believe harder. When you are betrayed, you stay loyal to the mission. When the night is longest and darkest, you light your own fire and keep marching through the void. The man of persistence understands that time is his ally. He does not need instant victory. He is willing to outlast his enemies. He is willing to outwait the storms. He is willing to work for years, decades if necessary, to see the dream unfold. Most men are slaves to impatience. They want results in weeks. They want applause by the weekend. The man of destiny is willing to be silent in the wilderness, hammering away in the dark, because he knows the vision is too great to be rushed. Every day of unseen labor builds a future that cannot be destroyed. When it is finally revealed, resistance will whisper 1,000 lies to your mind. It will say you are wasting your time. It will say you are not enough. It will say it is too late. It will say you missed your chance. It will say you should quit. Let it scream. Let it howl. Let it beat against you like a furious storm. You stand anyway. You plant your feet deeper. You snarl back with the fire of a man who knows he was made for this war. You remind yourself that the voice of resistance is the soundtrack to greatness. If you were not dangerous to the forces of darkness, You would not be under attack. Decide now that you will finish what you start. Decide now that you will persist beyond the breaking point. Decide now that you will carry your mission across the finish line, even if you have to crawl, bleed, fight, and claw every inch of the way. Persistence is rare because it demands everything. Persistence is rare because it demands you become more than the man who first dared to dream. But persistence is rewarded with crowns that cannot be stolen, victories that cannot be denied, and a legacy that will roar through eternity. The man who masters his mind masters his world. Every victory first happens in the mind. Every defeat first happens in the mind. The battlefield of life is won or lost long before your hands move or your feet march. It is settled inside your thoughts, your beliefs, your inner dialogue. The man who cannot command his own mind will be commanded by everything around him. But the man who seizes control of his mind becomes a king, a conqueror, a creator of destiny. His thoughts are weapons, sharpened for battle. His imagination is an architect, building the future before it is seen. His focus is a laser, cutting through confusion and fear and doubt like a sword. Mastery of the mind is the foundation of all other mastery. Without it, discipline shatters, faith collapses, persistence fades. But with it, a man can move mountains, change nations, shape eternity. Your mind is either your servant or your enemy. It will either build you into a warrior or chain you like a prisoner. You must decide now who will rule. Weak men let their minds run wild, ruled by fear, poisoned by doubt, crippled by distractions. They believe every anxious thought, they accept every lie whispered by insecurity. They drown in a sea of confusion and wonder why their lives are wrecked. Strong men seize their minds like a soldier seizes a fortress, and they take command. You must guard the gates of your mind with ruthless vigilance. Every thought is a seed, and seeds always grow. A man who allows weeds of fear, bitterness, laziness, and pride to grow in his mind will one day be strangled by the very things he ignored. You must plant thoughts of victory, thoughts of power, thoughts of destiny, thoughts of purpose. You must water those thoughts daily with action, with prayer, with declarations of truth. Your mind must become a garden where only strength is allowed to live. If you permit weakness to stay even a single day, it will spread like wildfire and burn down everything you are building. Mastering your mind means mastering your focus. What you focus on, you multiply. Focus on obstacles, and they will grow. Focus on fears, and they will paralyze you. Focus on failures, and they will define you. But focus on solutions, and you will find them. Focus on opportunities, and they will open. Focus on the call of God on your life, and it will burn brighter than the darkness around you. You must train yourself to fix your gaze like a lion locked onto its prey, never blinking, never hesitating, never doubting. Distraction is death. Focus is life. Your mind must be trained daily like a warrior trains for battle. You do not drift into strength. You do not stumble into mastery. You forge it with blood and fire and sweat. Every morning when you rise, you must set your mind with intention. Command it where to go. Command it what to believe. Command it what to pursue. The man who wakes up and lets his mind wander is already defeated before the day has begun. You must become the master craftsman of your own thinking, shaping it into a weapon so sharp, so relentless, that nothing can dull it. You will have to fight mental battles that no one else sees. You will have to wage wars in the hidden places of your soul where no one else applauds, no one else cheers, no one else encourages. It is there in the silent wars that champions are made. When the voice of fear rises, crush it. When the voice of self-pity whines, silence it. When the voice of laziness tempts you, mock it. You must dominate your inner world if you ever hope to dominate anything in the outer world. Victory begins in the chambers of your own mind before it is ever seen on the battlefield of life. The man who masters his mind does not deny reality, he reshapes it. He understands that thoughts are architects of action, and action is the architect of reality. He does not lie to himself. He speaks a higher truth to himself. He does not pretend problems do not exist. He declares that they are smaller than his mission. He does not ignore fear. He shatters it with relentless courage. Mastery of the mind is not ignoring the storm. It is learning to command the storm to serve your purpose. You must tear down every stronghold of weakness in your thinking. Tear down the belief that you are not enough. Tear down the belief that you are too late. Tear down the belief that you must wait for permission. Tear down the belief that failure defines you. You are defined by the fire that will not die inside your bones. You are defined by the blood running hot with purpose through your veins. You are defined by the calling of God stamped across your soul. Your mind must come into alignment with the truth of who you were born to be. Master your mind, and you will master your emotions. Master your mind, and you will master your habits. Master your mind, and you will master your future. The world outside you can rage, but if the world inside you is ruled by peace, power, and unbreakable vision, you cannot be conquered. A storm may bend the trees, but it cannot bend the mountain. Become the mountain. Become the man whose mind is not tossed about by every opinion, every trend, every disappointment. Become the man who sets his mind like flint toward his purpose and never turns aside. The man who moves with courage becomes unstoppable. Courage without action is nothing but a dream. Action without courage crumbles at the first blow. But when a man moves forward with both courage and action locked together, he becomes a force that cannot be ignored, cannot be silenced, cannot be stopped. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of fear. It is the willingness to feel the trembling of your soul and step forward anyway. It is the refusal to let fear drive the car, to let fear hold the sword, to let fear write the story of your life. Courage says, I feel the fear, but I move anyway. I hear the doubt, but I charge anyway. I see the danger, but I act anyway. Action with courage is the highest proof of belief. If you truly believe you are called, you move. If you truly believe you are chosen, you fight. If you truly believe you have a mission, you act as a man who has been sent to conquer. Weak men wait for fear to leave. Strong men drag fear along by the throat as they storm into battle. Fear is a shadow. It cannot kill you. It cannot crush you. It can only paralyze you if you let it. The courageous man refuses to freeze. He refuses to delay. He refuses to sit and ponder the perfect conditions that will never come. He knows that the way is made by moving, not waiting. You will never feel ready. You will never have every answer. You will never see the whole path laid out before you in flashing lights. The man of destiny understands this and moves anyway. Every step you take in courage reveals the next step. Every blow you strike in courage opens the next door. Fear demands a guarantee. Courage demands only a mission. When you are sure of your mission, you do not need a guarantee of success to act. You know that success itself is the byproduct of courage compounded over time, one daring step stacked upon another until mountains are moved and worlds are changed their will. Always be a voice whispering, not yet. Wait. Play it safe. Stay hidden. Protect yourself. You must become deaf to that voice. You must become blind to the coward's path. You must become a man who trains himself to act while others talk, to move while others plan, to strike while others hesitate. Courageous action births momentum, and momentum births miracles. Fear breeds delay, and delay breeds death. Every day you refuse to act is a day your destiny slips further away. Every day you act with courage is a day your destiny moves closer, pounding in rhythm with your footsteps. The man who acts with courage does not require applause. He does not act for approval. He does not move because he has the assurance of men. He moves because he carries the fire of heaven inside his bones. He knows that the approval of the crowd is worth nothing compared to the approval of the one who called him. He knows that history does not remember the cautious. It does not celebrate the careful. It does not crown the cowards. It crowns the courageous. It lifts up the men who dared, who risked, who bled, who moved when the world said, "Stay." Action with courage is how you defeat the giant that mocks your dream. Action with courage is how you tear down the wall that blocks your future. Action with courage is how you cross the sea that others fear to touch. The man who acts with courage breaks the cycle of mediocrity that enslaves generations. He becomes the first to go, the first to fight, the first to build, the first to lead. His name becomes a banner for others to rally behind. His legacy becomes a signal fire lighting the way for those too timid to move, until he showed them how there will be moments when your knees shake, when your heart pounds like a drum of war, when everything in you screams to turn back. In those moments you must roar louder than your fear. You must plant your feet deeper. You must draw the sword of your will and charge with everything you have. Cowards are slaves to their feelings. Warriors are masters of their actions. Feel fear, feel pain, feel uncertainty, but do not be ruled by them. Rule them. Ride over them like a king rides over conquered lands. Make fear serve you. Make fear watch as you rise higher and higher by the sheer force of your courage in action. Action with courage does not mean you will never fall. It means you will never stay fallen. It does not mean you will not be wounded. It means you will never be destroyed. It does not mean you will not suffer loss. It means you will never suffer regret. There is no greater agony than the regret of a man who knew what he could have done but let fear stop him. There is no greater crown than the peace of a man who knows he gave everything, fought every battle, dared every leap, lived with fire, and never let fear write his story. Every time you act with courage, you break fear's grip a little more. Every time you act with courage, you rip down the lies a little more. Every time you act with courage, you unlock a deeper strength that was buried inside you all along. Courageous action is the oxygen of your destiny. Without it, your calling will suffocate and die. With it, your calling will roar to life and blaze a trail across the earth that no man and no devil will ever be able to erase, a raging inferno inside the soul, a fire that consumes every excuse, every delay, every weakness. It is the force that bends reality. It is the furnace where destinies are forged. It is the voice that says, no matter how long it takes, no matter how fierce the opposition, no matter how many times I fall, I will have what I was born to claim, and it refuses. To be silenced, a man without burning desire is a leaf blown about by every gust of fear and distraction. But a man with burning desire is an unshakable mountain. No matter how many storms beat against him, he remains. No matter how many floods rise, he stands. No matter how many voices mock or tempt or threaten, he does not move. Burning desire gives a man a reason to fight when others flee. It gives him a reason to rise when others surrender. It gives him a reason to endure agony, to endure loneliness, to endure betrayal, because he sees the crown on the other side, and he has already set his heart to win it burning. Desire is the foundation of all greatness. No man has ever risen to the heights of his calling without first being consumed by an unstoppable inner fire. Skill is important. Talent is valuable. Opportunity is useful. But without burning desire, they are nothing but dust. The man who wins is not the man who had the most natural gifts. It is the man who wanted it so badly that he bled for it, wept for it, fought for it, and gave his last breath for it, if that was required. Burning desire will take a weak man and make him mighty. Burning desire will take an ordinary man and make him extraordinary. You must stir up the fire inside you until it becomes the dominant force of your life. You must feed it daily with your words, your actions, your prayers, your thoughts. You must guard it fiercely from the thieves of complacency and comfort and compromise. You must be ruthless in protecting your fire, because without it, everything else you build will collapse. The man who lets his fire die becomes a shell of what he could have been. The man who keeps his fire blazing becomes the storm that reshapes the world around him. Burning desire transforms obstacles into fuel. Every setback becomes a reason to push harder. Every defeat becomes a lesson that sharpens the blade. Every delay becomes a deeper proof that the dream is still alive and still worth everything. When you have burning desire, you do not need perfect circumstances. You do not need applause. You do not need to feel motivated every morning. You are driven from within, like a volcano that must erupt, like a lion that must hunt, like a king that must conquer. You do not wait for permission. You move because you must. The world will test the intensity of your desire. It will tempt you with easier paths. It will distract you with counterfeit prizes. It will whisper that the dream is too big, the cost too high, the journey too long. And in those moments, your burning desire must roar back with a voice louder than fear, louder than failure, louder than fatigue. Your burning desire must say, I will not turn back. I will not trade my crown for crumbs. I will not settle for a life smaller than the fire that burns in me, and you must move forward, no matter what it costs. Desire alone is not enough. It must be a burning desire. A man who merely wants something will give up when it becomes difficult. A man who merely hopes for something will quit when it becomes painful. But a man whose desire burns will crawl through fire, will climb over mountains, will tear down walls with his bare hands if necessary, because he cannot rest until he holds the prize in his hands. Burning desire does not negotiate. It does not bargain. It does not ask for discounts. It demands all, and in return, it delivers all. You must make the decision that you will feed the fire every single day. You must read words that sharpen your soul. You must speak words that fuel your spirit. You must act in ways that push the vision forward, even if it is only 1 inch at a time. You must constantly remind yourself why you started, what is at stake, and who you are becoming. Burning desire thrives on action, thrives on focus, thrives on daily discipline. Neglect it, and it weakens. Feed it, and it becomes a blaze that nothing and no one can extinguish. The man who walks with burning desire is already halfway to victory before the first battle begins. His enemies feel it, his obstacles sense it. The atmosphere around him bends to it. He carries the weight of destiny inside him, and it cannot be hidden. It cannot be denied. It cannot be bought, copied, or stolen. Burning desire is the rarest weapon on earth, and it belongs only to those who are willing to guard it with their lives. Once you possess it, you become dangerous. You become inevitable. You become the man who will not be stopped. The man God meant you to be is not found in hesitation or fear or compromise. He is forged in the fires of purpose, faith, discipline, persistence, mastery of the mind, courageous action, burning desire, and a refusal to quit. You were not called to live halfway, to shrink back, to bow down to circumstances or opinions. You were created to rise, to conquer, to finish the race marked out for you with fire in your bones and steel in your spirit. Every excuse must die. Every distraction must be crushed. Every fear must be silenced. This is the hour to rise. This is the hour to move. This is the hour to become the man you were born to be. No retreat, no surrender, no turning back. Burn your ships. Fix your eyes on the prize. Drive your stake into the ground and declare, I will finish my race. I will fulfill my destiny. I will become the man God meant me to be. And then go. Go with all your might. Go with all your fire. Go with all your faith. The world is waiting for the man who will not be stopped.